So now let's dive into our Icy Peach Bob in the Forward Momentum collection. So as you can see, my mannequin here is definitely not icy and she's not blonde, but she's a bob. So really what I want to speak to you about the Icy Peach Bob is that it is so versatile that you can change it up for just about any client that sits in your chair. So the Icy Peach Bob application, according to the card, you're going to go through, you're going to pre-lighten using the global lightening system where you use 1/8 inch sections. You're applying your lightener from about a 1/2 inch out from the scalp, putting that in foils, applying your color to both sides of your section, putting it in a foil, 1/8 inch sections all the way up, 1/2 inch from the scalp. Let that process go back in, melt out your root into your foil application, rinse and tone, and then we're going to go back in and do our freehand painting for your accent. However, doing the Icy Peach Bob, how it appears on the application card, is not going to be something that clients come in for every day. So the main thing is to really just think about how versatile this is. So I'm going to show you today how you can use the same application but on a client who has darker hair. So I've done an all over color on my mannequin here, mixed at 5 NUA with 5 VR, and she processed for 20 minutes. So with 9 volume. So that just really gave her a nice, pretty shiny base, just like a really kind of smoky violet hue, but not overbearing, just a really nice, solid, dark base. So this is just going to show you that you can take this application and use it for any client that sits in your chair. The Icy Peach Bob is for your client that really wants a little more contrast. She wants to see that pop of color, where with our Decadent Reflection, that gives you a little more subtle pops of color throughout. This is really going to be concentrated on this front triangle section that we've taken from in front of the ear through the apex into the to the hairline, and that's going to give us this nice triangle where we're going to go through and take 1/2 inch sections going up, and we're going to freehand paint. And I'm going to alternate my application by using V's and W's, so that really gives you that nice kind of fluidity as you go up. So it's going to give you nice dimension as it falls. It's going to give you nice diffusion as it all blends out. So that gives you an option for your client when they come back. You can either reglaze that same section and put a tone, change the tone, give them something a little more subtle or vibrant. You could also use some of the creative lines over top of your pre-lightened section. Or you could use something similar to their foundation color, which would give them a more subtle contrast. So, and then there's also the option, because you're freehand painting just in one section, to just kind of let it fizzle out and let that section just kind of grow out, or cover that up with your foundation color and a couple of visits after your client has had the fun and it's run its course. So it's just really important not to get hung up on the name of the collection, because it's so versatile that it's not just an Icy Peach Bob. It's a great application that you can turn into for any client that sits in your chair. So I've already sectioned off my mannequin here. I've come back just behind the crown and then come down with a sharp angle right to the front of the ear, and then coming up right to the hairline. And so I'm going to be taking diagonal back sections coming down, and I'm going to take about a 1/2 inch section, and then I'm going to start applying. Now I have clay lightener mixed up with 30 volume, and I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna do V paintings freehand. And I'm really just focusing like on my surface painting so that I can get that nice desired look. So I'm gonna do high points on either side and then concentrate my middle. And then I'm just going to go back through and just put one good solid coat of our clay lightener right over top of everything I've applied, just to kind of lock everything in. So you can kind of see here, we've got a nice V section. And then I'm going to come up, I'm going to take my next 1/2 inch section diagonally back. And with this section, I'm going to do a W. So I'm going to add another peak in the middle so that we get some higher strands going up closer to the scalp on that in between. So then as those fall, they're almost kind of like brick layer, your application, so that as this kind of goes back, you're going to get that nice diffusion into your base color, but yet you're still going to get that nice kind of pop of some, a little bit of fun. And how many clients come in and they're like, I just want some highlights around my face, right where I can see them. Well, this is a great option for your client that wants a bold contrast, wants to see the color where it matters most around her face, but also wants to have something a little more fun than just your basic, foil highlights. So you can see here now, we've got a W, so we've got our nice kind of shape coming through here. So you're gonna get some nice highs and lows coming through. Now, also the great part about this is, when we've done balayaging in the past, it's saturation, saturation, saturation. Well, because you want this to be nice and subtly and kind of diffused, I'm really just focusing on surface painting. We're gonna go back to our V for this one. I'm just focusing on surface painting so that you're gonna see that pop, but without really giving you the commitment of a full balayage. And with this application, with me using a dark-haired model instead of using someone who was icy, you'll have the option with your pre-lighten section that if your client comes back next time and she decides she wants, maybe something a little more bold, then you could put a creative glaze over top of it, or you could, pop up something that's got some warmth to it, or even cool it down if that's what your client's after. So it's really important just to figure out what it is your client is after in the consultation so that you know exactly where you're headed. It is also important to remember that depending on your client, you could go heavier with your balayage, you could go lighter, you could take smaller sections, you could super saturate. It just depends on how much contrast your client really is after and what you as her stylist really recommend for her. And we all know our clients. Like, we know that Susie isn't going to want to come in and she's not going to want to upkeep a bunch of highlights and, but she wants to have that fun. So this is a great application for her because this isn't something that's going to require a ton of maintenance. It's also going to grow out really subtly and pretty. And it's also going to add a lot of versatility to the look because, depending on where you part your hair, you're going to see more highlight or less highlight. And if she comes back in 6 weeks and she's like, I want it to be bolder, then you can talk into, what you could glaze her. You could put an 8VV over top of a pre-lighten section and give her a nice violet pop, or, you could go into the RRs and really mix those vibrant shades in there. Or like I said before, even using a creative line. I love to use the creative line just as a gloss over my client's hair, just to give them a hue. My clients, especially if they're like a level 5 or 6, I love to mix up the glaze of some of the creative lines, the magenta and the pink and the purple, or the violet, just to pull down over top of their already existing color, just to kind of give them a cast or a hue in certain lights. It's just a kind of a fun little pop to give them without the commitment of using those vivid colors. Now, since I have balayaged her, I'm gonna let her process Probably about 25 to 30 minutes. I'm gonna watch it. Since this is a mannequin, I'm definitely gonna probably let her process a little bit longer than I would an actual live client, because mannequin's hair, we know, is finicky, and I've already colored this mannequin as well, so it's gonna probably take a little bit longer to lift to the shade that I'm after. But I would really just like to get this up to, you know, a nice pretty level 8, and then we can glaze over top of it. So you can kind of see we just got our one section that's painted here, and then this is going to add a lot of flare. So going back to our Icy Peach Bob, if you were going to follow the application card accordingly, you would have done your pre-lightening and then pre-toned at the bowl to get you to that nice icy blonde, and then you would have mixed up your peach color and then applied that just how we have done with our lightener. So that's important as well, just to show you the versatility. So just to kind of recap, our Icy Peach Bob is for our clients that are looking for more bold contrast and they want to see a jolt of flare close to their face. It's going to give them, you know, some nice movement and nice diffusion as it blends back into your style. And you can get more color by changing up your part, so that'll be really cool too. Compared to our Decadent Reflection, that's going to give you pops of color all throughout. This is really just concentrating on that one side. So with this new 2020 Forward Momentum collection, we are giving a little bit of something for everybody. So that's really important too, because the versatility really speaks for itself. So I can't wait to show you guys what we come up with here.